Hello, everyone. My name is Julianne Meyer. You are watching Own Your Wellness, and I'm excited to have you here today. Today's special guest, I cannot for the life of me pronounce her last name, so I'm not even going to try because I know I'm going to murder it. In my defense, it's in French, and I don't speak French. So without further ado, let me introduce Dominique. Hello, welcome.
Hi, how are you?
Good. So, as we were talking privately, I thought, oh my gosh, I'm not going to be, I don't know what it is, but in my defense as well, I am doing a juice cleanse. And so my brain isn't firing quite right. I'm still going through all the detox symptoms. So I apologize.
No worries.
But anyway, I would love for you to tell the audience a bit about yourself.
Yes, for sure. My name is Dominique Levesque, so it is in French. It's just the last name. So let's say Dominique. I am a energy healer. I studied sacred geometry, so master in sacred geometry. I also work with the Light Library. I'm a soul map guide. I'm a business strategist, and I mostly work with soul-led businesses. And why I work with soul-led businesses, it doesn't mean only light workers. It actually means people that have their soul into their business, right? Because then we can identify their gifts and then bring them into their businesses. It can be a hotel, it can be a restaurant, it can be a coach business. Like you can be having a store and just not know how to flow the energy in your store, but anything that is soul led.
I love that. Because there's a lot of people out there that I don't know, there's just this idea that if it's something like a business, like maybe a hotel, that where's the soul in that? But
Oh my god, there's actually so much soul in there. And yeah, hotel is my most favorite. Hotel bars is my favorite, right? Because when you walk in the front desk, the reception, or you walk in the front door of a bar, you actually want it to be a flow, right? You want that there's the energy is flowing and that people want to go in and they want to go talk to the staff. And of course, to the bar, they want to go order. But in a hotel, you want them to go further in.
Interesting. So what do you find that now when you say soul led, I'm going to ask maybe a weird question, or maybe it's not, but is that spiritual, or is it can it be somebody who doesn't necessarily believe in a higher power?
There's a lot of people that don't believe in higher powers, but that are still soul led. So when I say soul led, is like, that little voice inside that a lot of people call intuition. So I believe that little voice is our higher self. And so when you walk into your store, it could be a closed store, right? And you're walking there, and all your voice inside is kind of like telling you, move this there, move that there, and not necessarily to make money, although yes, we all want and need money, right? But more to actually have the best experience ever for your clients. So even though you don't believe in a higher power, and I'm going to say something here that might not resonate with everyone, we're all energy, we're all one. There is no separation between anything. So whether you believe it or not, there is that collective. And is that collective attached to a higher power or higher power or not? I believe it is, but those are my beliefs. So soul led doesn't mean it's God led, or any gods of any religion led, or any spiritual led. It really means that it's led by your core beliefs of having a better experience and not only a financial experience. Hope I'm making sense.
Yeah, what I'm hearing, and correct me if I'm wrong, but what I'm hearing is, it's being of service.
Yes, indeed.
I mean, yes, like you said, it's important and to make the money, but there's this saying that I used to say when I was a little kid, or not a little kid, sorry, when I was like 18, it was like, and we were talking about making money. There's always the pull. And the point was there's always ways to make money, but how do you want to make that money? You could always go and sell drugs if it was just about the money. you know but what you're saying is it's about creating an experience, and yeah, you want the best for who you're working with.
Yeah, exactly. And if you take like a designer, for instance, right? The designer can take whatever piece of cloth and make a beautiful dress with it and sell it for whatever price, right? But
Mm-hmm.
some of the designers will go further and will try to get, you know, source in the proper ways. So not
Mm-hmm.
take advantage of whoever is going to sew the dresses and make the dresses. I don't have the words in English. So my first language, not English, but hopefully you understand what I mean. I want to say
Yeah.
organic, but it's not what I'm thinking. And then when they see those dresses on the people, it's not, yay, I just made $1,000. It's, oh my God, this just looks beautiful. It makes their skin glows, it makes them feel better. So there's
Mm-hmm.
always two sides. There's the
Yeah, I
side
love.
where, sorry, go ahead.
No, I was just going to say, yesterday I was having a conversation with somebody, and we were talking about how, the beauty of people, and how somebody can be physically beautiful, but if they're, not acting in a way that's in alignment with who they truly are, then they all of a sudden don't appear as pretty.
Yeah, for sure.
Yeah, it's energy. That's what it is. It's the energy behind it.
It is. It is. Everything is energy. It all
Yeah.
starts there.
Everything. Yeah, everything. Exactly. No, I love that. You touched on something really quickly when you were describing what you do, and that's sacred geometry. And I've always found that very fascinating. And I was wondering if you could give us like a little. I know there's way more to it than we could just get into here, but an idea for people who maybe are not familiar with what it is, an idea.
Yeah, for sure. So the way that I use sacred geometry is really for healing. So everything that I do, even if I just walk into a business before, I'm going to envision sacred geometry.
Mm-hmm.
And I use different geometry. So for those who actually have no idea what sacred geometry is, a flower is sacred geometry. A snowflake, the shapes of it is sacred geometry. A cactus, like the bowl cactus that are like
Mm-hmm.
this, sacred geometry. A tree, the way that the lines are done is sacred geometry. But also all the temples, all the churches. Um, yeah, there's like sacred geometry in the years, in the history is everywhere. Even
Mm-hmm.
if like the stars, like you could envision putting two stars one on top of each other and try to see it in a 3D, and then you, in your vision, you kind of like bring it, to
Mm-hmm.
you. You're actually embodying the energy of the stars,
Hmm.
right?
Interesting.
And
Yeah.
then what you want to do with the sacred geometry, well, what I like to do anyways, is like, let's say I'm doing something like that, right? I'm thinking of two stars, the shape of a star. So I'm thinking that they're coming together, and then I'm going to envision them come to me. So in my
Mm-hmm.
energetic body, they can come through your crown. You have to like, you don't have to close your eyes, but it's sometimes easier when you're starting to close your eyes. And then you have to think of the geometry. So basically there's points, so you can think of all the energy that you don't want in your body shooting out of those points. So the stars is kind of like helping you get anything that you no longer need inside your body out. And then
Hmm.
what you want to do is you want to ask Earth, Gaia, to take
Mm-hmm.
that energy and rejuvenate it. Because remember, we're one. So
Mm-hmm.
it's all energy. So nothing really goes away. So you want to make sure that anything that you no longer needed just doesn't go flying away. So you envision it go out, go inside the earth, and then kind of like heal itself and go back out.
I'm so glad you said that, because I've always thought about it, like anger in particular, because that's something that I've been dealing with for, I've got my own issues or whatever. And I've always been afraid to let it go, not because I, want to keep it for anything, but I didn't want to just
Yeah,
send
you
it
don't want to
out.
put it on somebody else, right? Because you know how much it's hurting you.
Yeah,
But
exactly.
I remember that one of my very, very first mentors, when I was doing more shamanic stuff, he told me that everything rottens from inside. So, you
Hmm.
know how like a tree will look very, very healthy and all of a sudden it starts dying? When it
Yeah.
starts dying, it means it's been dying from inside for years before. So when you're shooting out the anger, you know,
Hmm.
your intention, right, is just going to also like putting back into the earth. And the earth is beautiful. It's very loving, it's very caring, and it's so powerful. So by going bringing it down and asking for it to be healed, when it comes out, then it elevates the frequency of everyone.
That's fascinating. Oh, I never knew that. And that makes things a lot easier for me to understand because I've always known, these negative things that maybe we keep inside of ourselves or even, illness or dis-ease. Well, what happens? I mean, if we're all one and I'm just shooting it out of me, then does it go into
Yeah,
somebody
for
else?
sure, for sure. And also by keeping it, I'm not saying don't be aware of it, right? I'm
Hmm.
saying be aware of it, acknowledge it. And when you've acknowledged all these, this ease or those anger or anything that no longer serves you, so you
Hmm.
acknowledge and you can say, thank you, I no longer need you. And then you can envision any of the sacred geometry that you want. It can be, I like working with things that are more like pointy. I
Hmm.
love the octahedrons and stuff like that. You know, this is my favorite. But as you start working with geometry or with shapes, you're going to find shapes that you like. There's people that prefer like a circle. So you could imagine, I don't know, like a spiral coming in,
Hmm.
taking all that anger, all those cords that you no longer need, and then imagine coming in your crown and going down your
Hmm.
root, going into the earth. It's gone, right? And then
Yeah.
if you want to go further, imagine and sending in the love to it into the earth, and then you can see it come back up and elevate.
I love that. I'm curious if this works too for limiting beliefs.
Well, I believe that it works for everything, but there's always a but.
Hmm.
And the but is really because you need to acknowledge them. You don't want to just say, let's say I have a scarcity limiting belief. I'm
Hmm.
aware of it. I'm not going to work through it. I'm just going to get sacred gematria to get rid of it. That doesn't work that way. You know,
Yeah.
your human self still needs to work through it.
Hmm.
What the divine doesn't want is you to get stuck in it. So
Mm.
it's normal for your human self to have challenges.
Yeah.
How are you going to deal with those challenges is, really what it's all about. So when people come to me that have a lot of limiting beliefs, I'm a very good business coach, but I'm probably not the best life coach. So I actually have someone that I refer them to, and then when they're ready, then we can start, learning about how to get rid of it energetically. But you do have to have the mental. I think both of them work together, and it probably works a lot faster to
Yeah,
get. Yeah.
exactly. I think too about whether or not the person who it is believes it or not, because, I've, as you know, our brains are very powerful.
Oh my
And
God, yes.
and I think about how, how many people have said something to the effect of, acupuncture doesn't work or it didn't work for me. And I think about horses who have no compunction whatsoever. They have no, like, they don't know, but it works on them. So it's not that
Yeah.
it doesn't work.
Sometimes we don't want it to go away or we're not ready to go away either. I know that I have been with energy and believing in all of that since I think since I was born. I still
Hmm.
had my loads of challenges. I mean, I
Yeah.
lost everything 3 times because I had so much scarcity beliefs.
Hmm.
Like I actually believe that everybody else was um oh my god, my brain is working in Spanish right now. I'm thinking in Spanish. I believe that everybody else was more worthy of the financial that I was bringing in than me, right? So what
Mm.
did I do? I would bring in the money and then build churches, build programs, build libraries for schools and stuff like that. And then I was like, my God, I'm living in a house that's falling down. I have no money, not even to eat for my kids. What happened? And then I would go and I was like, oh yeah, scarcity. So I would work on it a little bit and then get better and then work on it again, get better, work on it again, until I lost it
Mm-hmm.
all. And when I lost everything, I had nothing left. I was like, okay, this time I'm going to work on it for real. So it's believing, being aware of it, but wanting to do the work for real. So
Mm-hmm.
the energy, the healing, the sacred geometry did help me, but I did have to help my brain to get to that, and everybody has their I say the bottom of their gap,
Yeah.
before they start building their bridge. So we all have a different one.
No, I like that. I like that. On that note, it is time for us to go to a commercial break. So we're going to be back in just a minute. And for those of you who are watching us live, thank you for being here today. As I mentioned, it is commercial time. So we're going to be back in just a moment.
When drug or alcohol addiction take over, things begin to disappear. Your friends, your family, and eventually, you. Recommended by Dr. Phil, New Method Wellness can help get your life back with individualized treatment plans for dual diagnosis clients. New Method Wellness provides the most highly credentialed treatment in a safe and welcome environment. Call New Method Wellness for your free consultation and ask about our national accreditations. Together, we can put the pieces back together.
Welcome back, everyone. If you're just joining us now, I'm Julianne Meyer, and you are watching Own Your Wellness. And today we have Dominique with us, and we've been talking about sacred geometry and how to use it in your life. So I do want to continue with, sacred geometry, but there's a burning question that I want to ask you about. And not everyone is as in tune as you are to energy and what some people may not understand. There's a lot more people who are earthbound. Is this something that you've had your whole entire life, or is it something that you've grown into?
So I would say that for me, I've had my entire life. Yeah, I've had my entire. Sorry, I was just thinking. So I think I was just born that way. I've always seen colors. I've always seen things that and not like with my physical eyes, right? It's
Okay.
really hard to explain because maybe people see with their physical eyes. I don't. It's kind of like a knowing. So I will look at someone and I will see some kind of shades around them, you know?
Mm-hmm.
I don't really know what it is, but something inside me will tell me, oh, this is a green aura, or this is, I don't know, like a yellow life path. And then I go higher to verify if what I'm feeling or knowing is right. But I have learned for many, many, many years to not say anything, right? I was raised in a very, very Catholic environment where all of these things would have been considered crazy. So I learned how to remain quiet most of my life. And I believe that everybody has the gift of knowing. I think it's just identifying how you live it. But really, by tuning into your intuition, I think is the best way to know how you hear. So, what am I saying here? Let's say you're scared. Try to feel in your body where you're feeling scared. And then the next time you're like in bliss or you're really having fun, try to feel in your body what's the feeling, or where, like not just your physical body, inside. Try to feel where do you feel that joy or that playfulness or that, whatever bliss feeling you have. And then when you come with a question, so I don't know, should I change career? Then feel in your body if you're feeling that feeling of fear or that feeling of bliss, right? So that's just slowly tuning into your intuition. And when you start tuning into your intuition, even if you're very, very ground-based and you can't vision, you can't feel, you're going to start feeling. You might have shivers, your body might change the temperature. But if you open to receiving messages, really open, you will receive them. And everybody can do that.
Yeah, no, I agree. I just, there's a lot of people who don't believe that they can. But then it's like, how many people have said, "Oh, I knew that. I knew
We just don't like to listen to our intuition, right? Because there's also, when I was first starting to talk about these things more openly, I was always checking in. Is it my brain or my ego that's telling me? And then I was like, well, ego is also part of me. So my ego is also probably telling me something that I need to listen to, right? So what I started doing is starting to find the feelings, because the feelings won't lie. There will not be any like filter on your feeling. And when you're taking decisions based on fear, your decisions are probably not going to be good for your life in a whole. When you're taking your decisions based on love or from your heart space, then your decisions are probably going to be good, which is why it's so good to stop saying, oh, it's my ego, it's my brain, it's my heart. Just start feeling. Go inside and start practicing with small things, right? Like you're going on a bike, and there's like a hill. If you don't like the hill, feel it. If you like it, feel it. And then when you have decision, you're going to get the same feelings back.
I think that you said something really important that I want to highlight. You said about the hill. If you, feel it, whether it's scary or exciting or what, just actually allow yourself to feel it. And, I'm speaking from my own experience, how many times I've tried to avoid feeling things and just like keep it even or elevated. It doesn't really work like that. And I just love that you said that, because it's a really good point, because we don't allow ourselves to feel. We just sort of sugarcoat it and push it down and don't really pay attention to it. We don't experience it.
Yeah, we want it to go away without feeling it. It won't go away.
Yeah. There's that saying, I don't know if you're familiar with it, but we keep our issues in our tissues. I always love that we keep our issues in our tissues. And, I was working a lot in, the physical personal training and nutrition and things like that. And there's, it's fascinating to me, because there's times when people could literally be doing everything that they say, everything that I ask them to. And scientifically, they should be, say, losing weight or gaining all this muscle, whatever the case may be. and they don't, because they don't actually believe that they can. It's the weirdest thing, but it's not, because it makes perfect sense, but it's not supported scientifically, which is kind of fascinating because we don't understand everything.
For sure. And I think that because we don't understand everything, we have sometimes to rely on the fact that we're all one, right? So if we're all one, it means that I have access to Einstein knowledge as much as I
Mhm.
have access to Gandhi knowledge if I want to. If I
Mhm.
want to be open to all of that, I have access to it. So why would I remain in my self-centered self if I can have access to all of that, right?
Yeah. No, that's a beautiful, freeing thought. I really like that. What do you think is a misconception about what you do?
Well, um,
There's
a lot of
probably a lot.
yeah, I was thinking which one will I go with? So I lived in a lot of countries. I'm a nomad, so we move about every 4 months. I've been doing that for 35 years. So I've lived in a lot of countries where I am considered a witch.
Mhm.
Um, because I am considered as someone that is not soul or divine or God based, whatever your beliefs are, that I
Mhm.
actually ask for help from demons and evil and stuff like that. Which, some people do work in the darker energies. I
Mhm.
choose not to. I respect everybody, but I choose to only work in light and love in everything that I do. And what is really funny is that because of that, every single thing that has happened to me actually showed me a very, very, very valuable lesson that I was able to walk through.
Mhm.
If I would have listened to everybody that's telling me, oh, you're a witch or you're this or you're that, I would probably be like rolled up in a little ball in my kitchen floor and crying, right? And
Yeah.
not doing this. But then when I see people that are enlightened and that they finally understand their gifts and stuff like that, then I'm like, yeah, it does work. Another
Mhm.
of the very, very common belief is that energy is not a thing because you don't see it, right? So a lot of people have to see to believe.
Yeah, I don't understand that at all, because how many times is somebody staring at you and you feel it? You know?
Yeah, and there's people you can give them all the examples in the world
Is
and they just won't, right? So
Yeah.
there is a saying that says God will give the message to 7 different people.
Hmm.
And so just to make sure that eventually the message will be shared or you will receive it. So when I'm talking about energy with that one person that doesn't understand, I
Mhm.
will walk out of their path and then somebody else will come in if they need to receive, if they're open to it, right? So in all those beliefs, Julianne, I do believe that there's kind of like a divine timing,
Mhm.
and I will show up in your path when you're ready for it.
Oh, I just got the chills. So speaking of showing up in your path, this is your website, for everybody who's watching. And I know that you have some things available on there, and I'd love for you to share what people can find when they look you up.
Yeah, for sure. So I work with individual and businesses. So we already talked about the business side where I will help you kind of like clear the energy, make a strategy for the energy to be properly working inside your business, or if like me clearing your energetic being, so that you can more be seen or be heard
Mhm.
wherever you're wanting to be individually, which is super fun. I do soul maps. So the soul maps is basically tuning in, and then we get the divine gifts, and then we apply them in the 3D life. So this is what you're going to find on the site, and we have an amazing freebie, which is a month of affirmations. So every Monday, you receive an affirmation and tips. Because if I just say I am love, and I don't feel it, I don't see it, I don't know how to say it, it's not going to do anything, right? So,
Exactly.
yeah, so we have that on the site that people can get access to.
I love that. Thank you so much. You know, I'm so glad you mentioned that about the feeling behind the affirmation. It's the energy behind it, because
Yes.
I mean, we can say all kinds of things, but there has to be some sort of oomph, some power, you know?
Yeah.
I do have I mean, I want to move forward with the conversation, but I do have a burning question as well. When you are living in these countries where you would be considered a witch, now here's what I find interesting. Do people just sense this about you, or is, you know, because that would be energetic too. So how are they?
So it's very weird because, well, some countries have a lot more witchcraft stuff,
Yeah.
like, but I say like voodoo and stuff like that, right? Where it is
Mhm.
a thing. Um, and a lot of people will not get near where I live, but it's probably not because of them. It's probably me intentionally protecting myself from all the darkness, because
Mhm.
every day I ask for protection and to be only kept in the light and love, and to only have people that are from light and love around me. So when people don't come close to me, I don't worry. I don't wonder. I know that somewhere, something, someone is protecting me, right?
I love that.
Um, so if they call me a witch, it's really their thing. Eventually they'll come around and they see that I'm not a witch. And if I am, I'm a good one.
Yeah, exactly. No, that's interesting to me. Oh, that is very interesting. So back to sacred geometry, because this is such a huge topic, and I know it's something that you love as well. But is this something that people can learn more about as well, just so they have a better understanding? Or, I mean, how does one, for example, what I'm getting at is, not everyone wants to maybe spend their life learning and experiencing sacred geometry in the way that you do. So they would hire you to help them with that. But maybe
Yes.
they want to have like a little bit more of an understanding. How does one get that?
Well, so this is how I started. Before I did my master certification, I would go online and look. Oh, no, this is how I really started actually. I looked at like snowflakes and I was like, how can a snowflake be so perfect?
Hmm.
Right? And when I was younger, there was no internet. So I would go into libraries and try to find how nature is so perfect. And
Hmm.
I could find some explanations, but I guess I wasn't as curious as I am now. Right
Hmm.
now, you can go online and ask YouTube about anything, right? Why is the snowflake so perfect? And it's going to give you a whole
Yeah.
explanation. But I was just extremely curious, and this is how I started. And I was like, there's something about this. And then I would go. I love walking into temples and churches and all any religious of any religion. Their
Hmm.
shapes, like just the way the Buddhas are holding their hands, the way they're placing their fingers.
Hmm.
The in the Hindu, like the signs that they do,
Yeah.
all of these are their sacred geometry. Everything I feel is for the energy to have a flow, right? And this is kind of how I started learning. And then every time I would ask myself a question. So let's say we were in Tibet, right? And then I
Hmm.
see one of the statues and they're holding their fingers, then I would feel. I'm looking at the way and I'm thinking, how does the energy work in the signs that they're making? How they're like holding their fingers anywhere in the world, right? Even Mayan temples, there's a lot of things that are around, a lot of symbols that we don't understand. Egyptian pyramids, look at
Hmm.
all the signs. How is the energy moving with those signs? Is how I started feeling into the sacred geometry. And years later, I took certification. Hope I answered your question.
No, you did. Yeah, I was just kind of thinking about what you were saying as you were saying it, because yeah, it's because everything is energy, and I mean it's even science. So so whether you believe it or not, you can believe in gravity or not.
Yeah, exactly.
Doesn't make it any less true. But I was just thinking about how, back to the emotions and, we keep our issues in our tissues. Like if we don't allow things to flow through us, then they get stuck. So that's an energy blockage. So of course it's going to cause problems. Of course there's going to be an issue there. And, I was just thinking about how many people I know that, and this is fascinating, and this is sort of the same idea. It's like how everything is interconnected. It's like, if you are not taking good care of yourself, how do you expect your business to be doing well?
Yeah, your business, your life, everything, right?
Yeah, everything is connected. Absolutely everything. No, I think that's fascinating. Now, actually, let's go to commercial break really quick, because when we come back, I want to talk a little bit. You said soul mapping, right?
Yeah.
Yeah, I want to talk a little bit about that, because not that you give anything away per se, but I think it sounds fascinating because, I've never heard of it. So we're going to be back in just a minute. And for those of you who are watching us live, thank you again for being here, and also on demand. Of course, we appreciate you. And we're going to be back in just a minute.
Welcome to E360 TV, the live streaming and on-demand destination for influential voices and enlightened audiences. We offer trending, grassroots, and purpose-driven content across a diverse range of interests. E360 TV is more than just watching programs. We offer the ability to interact with live shows connecting audiences to real, authentic influencers and storytellers, while streaming to millions of devices. Real experiences. Raw conversation. One destination for it all. E360 TV.
Welcome back, everyone. Let's bring our guest back on, Dominique. Welcome back. Thank you so much. So as I was saying before the commercial break, I'm curious about this other thing that you do, because I've never really heard of it.
Well, you've heard about the chakras, right?
Of course, yeah. And okay. I assume most people have.
Yeah. So let's imagine, that this is a fact, actually. Every chakra has a purpose, right?
Mm-hmm.
So let's imagine now that every single chakra holds a purpose only for you. But if you are not connected to your soul, maybe you just need a little help to know how to go from the ancestral generational trauma, which would be the chakra that would be under your feet, to bring and heal that and get into your root chakra, which you're going to be grounding whatever gift it is into your 3D. So into this dimension that we live on. And then as you move up your chakras, right, your gifts start being more spiritual, more aligned, and more connected. But not everybody actually works with those top chakras. I would say someone that is in construction can be super intuitive, but not be connected to the top chakras, only be connected to the root and to the sacral area. But if he doesn't know how to work with that, he's always going to feel like he's not connected. So basically what the soul map does is we start with the healing. So we start with like a clearing of all the chakras for me to be connected in your energetic body. And then it's very funny because sometimes I'll hear words, sometimes I'll see an animal, or I'll see a color or a sound, and then it's on a chakra. So if it's on your third eye and I see an eagle, for instance, then I would say, well, this person is very strong, she's a go-getter. But how do I connect the third eye to that eagle? Is it a spiritual guide? And then I try to make sense to everything that I see, right? So I'm making a map. How are we going to get from France to Italy? And then I give you that map.
Oh, I love that. Something that you said too about the chakras, I mean, those are energy centers, correct?
Yes.
But aren't there more than that in your body?
There are. I work with 18 different chakras. So there's a lot of different studies that will say we have over 1,000. There are 7 main ones, but I work with 18 different ones for the soul map in particular.
That's amazing. Yeah, because most people are familiar with the rainbow.
Yes. And there's a reason for those colors too, right? I mean, like, for instance, the red, like, is very grounding, and the orange, they all have a reason for those colors. So when you're working with your chakras and you're feeling that those colors are off, then it also gives you a pin that you need to be clearing that area. And is it a belief that you have that is holding you back? Then you need to go into your human story and see, like, why am I not getting where I want to be? Why am I always feeling disconnected? Why am I always feeling that I'm not doing what I'm supposed to do? And there's something that is worth saying here is, it's not because you do that once that you don't have to do it again. I do that all the time, because as you evolve, your purpose also evolves, and your soul, the divine, whatever you believe in, will be asking more from you purposefully.
I love that. I'm sorry, I have a book here. Anyway, it's called one of my first coach that I ever paid for. And there's a Zen saying, and he put it in the book. It says, enlightenment is an accident. Practice makes us accident prone. And I love that, because it's like, it's not one and done. You're not just, all of a sudden everything's set and you're good to go.
Yeah, exactly. I mean, you are good to go. It depends how open you are to whatever information you receive. And sometimes I give information to people and they look at me like they're just not understanding me. And this is the hard part, because I tell them, sit with faith, think about it. Eventually the answer will come to you.
That's the thing, is I have worked with intuitives before, and they have said things to me, and I said, oh no, not happening. And then all of it did happen. And it's like, I didn't see that coming. So I can appreciate that, just sitting with the information, because it doesn't have to, whatever it is, doesn't have to make sense right then.
No, and a lot of it doesn't, especially for light workers, when they come to me and they're like, I would like to know what's my next step. And then what comes up is a healing modality for them. They're like, that's not my next step. I go, well, that's what came up. And then when they do the healing modality, the next step comes up for them.
Yes, exactly. Now, for those that are watching, can you explain what a light worker is?
Yes, for sure. So a light worker, it depends on your beliefs, right? Some people say that it's actually a star seed. So I will talk about the earth light worker. So people that work with energy, even a doctor could be a light worker if their practice is more than just the physical. So anything, you, Julianne, are a light worker because you work with the energy. You don't only coach people how to get to where they want to be, but you energetically help them align themselves with the energy around them so that they get to where they want to be. And that might be a little bit creating confusion, right? Because like, well, I just have to take action. Well, yes, you have to take action physically, but if you don't take action inside with your energy, you're not going to get anywhere. So the light workers are massage therapists. They not the ones that you feel like you're just getting a rub. The ones that when they're putting their hands on your body, you actually feel the energy moving, right?
Yeah.
Or even a hairdresser could be a light worker. When they talk to you and you fall asleep, or you're just listening to them and their voice becomes kind of like a background noise, but you feel the healing, right? They could be a light worker too. This is my own thoughts.
No, and I love that because it's a term that, you know, and like you said, people have different beliefs, but it's a term that it's kind of like the term wellness. It could be very broad and and people have different interpretations, but it does come down to certain things,
Yes.
whether you like it or not. No, I think that's amazing. Now, I'm curious, do you have your own, say, rituals that you do I mean, you mentioned that you ask for protection, but are there other things that you do to get your energy maybe in alignment?
My life is filled of rituals. It's so funny.
I
So
love that.
you know how I travel, right? And like every 3 months I move. So one of my ritual is actually I never leave my crystals behind. And you're gonna laugh because look is what is in my hand right now while I'm talking to you.
Well, I was carrying this one. So.
Yeah, there you go. So I actually take time to connect every single morning and every night. I believe that when you go through your day, cords will attach to you from other people.
Yeah.
Whatever you do, like if I'm walking in a supermarket, you know, and someone is feeling down a little bit, I have a lot of energy to give away. So intuitively, not consciously from them, their pain is going to attach to me, and I'm probably going to give them back some energy, right? I feel like I'm like an electrical ground, you know, I get energy from the divine and it just runs through me and then it explodes all the time. And it is my intention to be able to try to heal and elevate whoever and whatever needs it around me. Why am I saying this? Because at the end of the day, you have so many cords or codes or things attached to you. You need to let them go because they're not yours. There's nothing you can do with them. And you don't need them. So I envision a shower, or even in the shower, you can do that. I envision that the water or the energy or the light just comes and washes it all out, sends it to earth and get rejuvenated to elevate. This is the one thing that I will never miss doing. So that's the one ritual.
No matter what.
No matter what. No matter what.
Like
And if I do forget, I will feel it. But because I've been doing it for so long, right? Yeah, I do try to meditate every day. It's not realistic sometimes for me when we need to move, when, you know, we're on the road. But I meditate, like, just by having a coffee is a meditation for me. You know, meditation doesn't mean sitting in an empty space. Yeah, exactly. You know, there's so many forms of meditation, and that took me a long time to learn.
Yeah. There's definitely, it's more of what's happening in your brain and how you're feeling. And yeah. Because for me, walking in nature is a meditation. So.
Oh my God, isn't it the best?
It is. Oh my gosh. I feel so centered and calm. Or the beach. The beach, just sitting there staring at the ocean.
Oh yeah, I could do that for hours. When I was younger, like everybody would go party, and I lived most of my life near the ocean, but I lived in Playa del Carmen in Mexico, and I would just sit there while everybody was partying. And when I was younger, there was no clubs; it was all outside, you know, discos, and I wouldn't even hear the noise. And everybody's like, "Come dance," and I'm like, "Nah, I'm good here.
I love that. Well, we only have about 3 minutes left. I'm just curious if there's anything else that you want to share in particular that maybe you haven't, or reiterate a point, or any wisdom that you would like to leave with the audience.
I actually would like that. I want people to stop having so much pressure on trying to be zen, trying to be aligned, trying to be balanced. I want people to understand that all your effort will bring something to you. Whatever it brings is what you need. So to really like stop trying to always understand everything and just sit with that feeling and sit in faith that whatever message or whatever you need to live will come through for you.
I love that. It makes me think of like his name is Alex Mill, the guy that I just quoted. Well, not him, but from the book that he wrote. We actually had a conversation yesterday, and we were talking about how, that Zen feeling, or the, enlightenment or whatever, it's like that. And then you fall in and out of it. So all this trying doesn't really get you there.
Exactly.
In
All
fact,
in
it
divine
kind of keeps
timing.
you from it. At least, there's a block. But no, I love that you said that. I think that is so important. And you mentioned to me privately that with the affirmations, you said that starts in April.
Yes, so the freebie is always there. You have a month of free affirmation, so it gives you tips and so forth. But then it goes into a program that is for a year long. Every Monday, people will receive an affirmation. So we have journal prompts, audios, visuals, and it just kind of brings you from how to write your affirmation to how to make it work. Right? Because like we said, I can walk around and say, I am love, I am rich, I am this, I am that, and it's just not going to happen. Yeah. So it really takes you to understanding how it's built. How does our brain function with the affirmation? How does it function in the human life, in the human perspective? And how do we bring it and elevate it to the spiritual level so that it actually brings you what you're looking for?
I love that. I love that so much. Well, I just want to say thank you so much for being here today. It has been an absolute pleasure. I adore you. I think you are amazing, even if you are a witch.
I love witches. They're really cool. You have to have a coffee with one day.
Why not? I mean, it's kind of funny to me too, because it's like we name things that we don't necessarily understand and attach meanings to it. But hey, it doesn't matter as long as we're doing love and light. So
exactly. And thank you so much for inviting me on your show.
Thank you. And we'll have to keep in touch. I appreciate you being here, and we'll see you again soon.
Awesome. Thank you. Have a great day.
Thank you. Bye. And that is all the time that we have for today. I just want to say thank you for being here, and we'll see you guys again later, sooner than later.